and Security Committee. Senator, it's so good to see you this morning. I want to talk a lot about the legislation you're introducing and really get your assessment on all of this in terms of the impact on the homeland. What do you make of the Iranian minister warning the United States?
Wow, that's the first time I've seen that, Maria. You know, I think about President Reagan, President Eisenhower giving us peace through strength. Joe Biden has given us war through weakness. Joe Biden thought he could tame this tiger, Iran, by petting it. What we're seeing now is everybody acting out. Look, at the end of the day, this is a war between the people of Israel and the Hamas army of terror. This is a war for the future of mankind. That if we don't stand up to these terrorists, these thugs now, then it's going to be in the United States next. That's why we have to be unequivocally supportive of Israel. We have to, I don't think Iran even thinks we have any red lines. So we need to be much more forceful. 19 attacks on Americans, as you just pointed out, and we respond one time. I think we should be responding exponentially.
Well, I don't understand why this administration treats all of our adversaries with kid gloves. I mean, we've seen the approach to China, and now we're watching in real time this approach to Iran, which has facilitated via Hamas and Hezbollah taking hostages, manhandling women and children. What is the motivation for this administration being so soft on these adversaries, in your view?
Well, Maria, I don't have an explanation for this White House. Obviously, they think that they can keep appeasing everybody and that they're going to find some type of peace. Look, it didn't work in Iran. It's not going to work in China either. But what I do know is that the United States will stand with Israel, and that's why we're separating the funding for Israel versus Ukraine. Right now, Israel needs the funds. They really need the military aid yesterday. It's my belief within a matter of 10 to 14 days, Israel could have 3 fronts open, not to mention the Iranian proxies in Syria, Iraq, as well as in Yemen. That's why we need to separate this funding. If we include Ukraine funding, it's going to slow the process down in the Senate, and it's dead on arrival in the House. It'll take weeks. These are 2 different wars, 2 different issues. And why Joe Biden wants to lump them all together, I don't know.
So the 3 fronts that you're referring to, you've got Hamas in the south, you've got Hezbollah in the north. What's the third one?
Would it be the West Bank? That some type of attack coming from that direction. And already we've seen Yemen, the Iranian proxies in Yemen able to launch missiles from Yemen all the way to Israel as well. So we've got all those proxies going on. Again, this is a battle for the future of mankind, that we need to stand up to these terrorists right now. We need to stand up to the head of the snake, which is Iran. We need maximum sanctions on them. We need eye for eye. We need tooth for tooth. The situation, though, in Ukraine is so much different. Ukraine is a 7 or 10-year war. It's at a stalemate. It's already cost 200,000 lives. Why aren't we working for a peace agreement in Ukraine? Meanwhile, this is a code blue in Israel.
Well, of course, any life is a tragedy. So we want to address it all. But, Senator, you and your fellow Republicans are introducing a new bill to send defense aid to Israel without the Ukraine funding attached. It would give $14.3 billion in aid to Israel to fund the Iron Dome and Iron Beam systems and allow the U.S. to stockpile more ammunitions in Israel. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell says he supports President Biden's plan of packaging aid to Israel and Ukraine together. So, I mean, you may, reject this in the House, but does it pass in the Senate?
Well, in the Senate side, I think we're going to have a very robust argument over this over the next week or so. But what will happen is this will take weeks to pass on the Senate. If we send it to the House, they will reject it. They're going to work on their own bill, then they'll send it to us, and it'll be Christmas time before this gets done. So that's why we need to separate it now. That's why we want to vote on this Israel funding standing alone. We need to unequivocally stand by the people of Israel. They need the help yesterday, not 2 months from now.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Christmas because, the deja vu of the way Congress works leads me to believe we're going to have another, continuing resolution. And you're going to have to make a decision right around Christmas or face a shutdown on Christmas. I just spoke with your colleague on the House side, Brad Wenstrup, about the potential for another continuing resolution. Watch this.
I sense that there'll be some type of a CR, and that's just the reality, an unfortunate reality. There's a lot of things going on, and unfortunately, we had the problems with the speakership, and that's put us behind the 8 ball a little bit as well. But I agree with what Speaker Johnson just had to say. That has been the mood in the Republican Party and the House of Representatives. These are separate issues. We want to fund Israel. We want to do it and we want to support them in any way that we can.
So, Senator, what about this? We understand that the new speaker, Mike Johnson, told colleagues that another CR is going to be necessary, and he favors one that runs until January 15th or April 15th. Your thoughts on where this is going?
Well, we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. But what your listeners need to understand is Chuck Schumer, Joe Biden, they want this CR. They also want to wait and throw in all this funding for Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan. They want to open our border more. They want to do this all on the next CR before Thanksgiving. That's their plan. That gives them more power. It gives the swamp in Washington, D.C. more power. That's what they want. Chuck Schumer is doing everything he can to delay progress on our side. Our Appropriations Committee did a wonderful job on the Senate side. They've got all 12 of the bills out. They're ready to be debated. We're just now starting on one of these mini buses right now. So Chuck Schumer is going to do everything he can to delay it so he and Joe Biden can actually write the budget. I support what Speaker Johnson is doing over there. I think it's his only choice. But what I do know is he's committed to going to regular order, to doing these one at a time and work towards long-term solutions.
Yeah, and thanks for your work on the border as well, Senator. You've done so much. I know you've got another bill trying to target these terrorists that are coming through the country. We're watching that, and certainly we'll keep it on the front burner here and a spotlight on it. Senator, it's good to see you this morning. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Maria. We'll come back and talk about border security.
Yes, please do. Roger Marshall joining us. I want to thank Doug